you're anything like me, then you've tried millions of diets and nothing has stuck. 6 years ago, I lost 40 pounds and I've been able to maintain the leanest physique of my life, even after 2 kids. Now in my mid-30s, crazy to say. And it's all because I removed the bottlenecks to me taking action consistently. And one of the biggest things that stops people from seeing the same kind of results that I have, that consistent long-term success, is that they don't have a simple step-by-step formula to follow so that they can actually get to implementing on what works. So what I'm going to show you in this video is some easy ways that you can use ChatGPT to get the planning done for you so that you can take fast action and essentially stop using this as an excuse. I love using AI and I use it every single day in my personal life and my business. The things that I've asked ChatGPT, let's just say I hope nobody ever finds it, but it really can make your life a whole lot easier, and so this is how to utilize it. Alright, so I've actually gone ahead and created some prompts for you that you can plug straight into ChatGPT and you can copy and paste this. But essentially what we're going to be doing here is creating a very, very simple meal prep system where you can look at what your favorite components are, and then it can spit out a bit more of a personalized goal that is going to be specific to you. And I'm going to break the fourth wall for a moment and be very brutally honest about why I wanted to make this video and why I think that you need to listen up very carefully. Most of the weight loss content online centers around needing to understand how many calories you need to eat for weight loss, for your specific age, activity levels, height and weight, and how much weight you're wanting to lose each week. And I'm going to be real with you. You can put a question like that into ChatGPT and it would look something like, I'm insert age and I'm insert height, I'm insert weight, and my activity levels each week are X. How many times you work out, whether you're sedentary, and then you would say something like, give me my maintenance calories, and then how much I would need to eat every single day in order to lose X pounds per week. And you can put it in whatever pounds you want. Now you can go and put that prompt into ChatGPT right now. But these kind of formulas to know how many calories you need to eat for weight loss have been around for decades. There are hundreds of them online. And while those numbers may or may not be accurate, whether you get 1600 as your maintenance calories or you get 2200 as your maintenance calories, no matter what number and no matter whether you know that or not, it doesn't actually get you to change your behavior. Whatever that number is, whether it is 1600 or 2200 in maintenance calories, the only thing that is actually going to matter when it comes to weight loss is systemically lowering them. And that's all about changing your behavior. And I remember the first time that I started using MyFitnessPal when I was 20. I was in Australia at the time and I put in the maximum amount of weight loss that I wanted to lose each week that I could. I wanted to lose at least 3 pounds every single week. So I put in my height and my weight. And MyFitnessPal predictably gave me a very low calorie number that I needed to hit in order to achieve that goal. Or maybe about 13 or 1400 calories a day. Do you think that knowing that number got me to my goals? It got me always trying to eat less food, ending up binging on the weekends, and then starting the whole cycle again, always trying to hit this incredibly low number. What I've learned since, and the reason that I was able to learn the 40 pounds and now keep them off, is that knowing the outputs that you need, how many calories you need to eat for weight loss, or how many miles you need to run in order to be fit for a marathon, or how much money you need to make in order to achieve your financial goals, doesn't actually get you off your couch doing the behaviors, taking the actions that you need to in order to hit that. So if you want to make long-term changes and master weight loss or any behavioral change systemically, then you need to instead have clear input goals. What you're going to eat, when you put your shoes on, how long you're going to run, how many steps, anything that you can control, that if you were to do it consistently, you would most likely hit an outcome goal, which would be systemically lowering calories, or running enough in order to achieve a marathon, or saving enough in order to achieve your financial goals. Those are outputs to an input, the action. So the way that we're going to use ChatGPT, and the only thing that really matters, is to make it easier to have weight loss inputs, because that's the only way to actually change the outputs. So let's do that. ChatGPT and AI is an amazing resource, but only if it is used as a tool to get you to take more action as opposed to less. And as I mentioned in the beginning, just by knowing a calorie number doesn't mean that you actually eat the vegetable. Okay, so the prompts that we're going to be using are designed to get you eating meals that are going to be around about like 450 to 500 calories, which for most women is going to get you into that weight loss zone. We're not going to need to count in order to achieve this because counting is going to make it harder for us to change our behavior long term, but we are going to use core frameworks like eating a pound of vegetables every single day, having all our meals follow the stack framework, which is starch, which is just potatoes, rice, quinoa, or any whole food carbohydrate source, tons of veggies. This is going to lower our calories calories. This is where our 1 pound of veggies per day is coming from. A, for add protein so that we can preserve muscle loss that happens while you're in a calorie deficit. C, control for fats, which doesn't mean that we don't eat them, but it just means that they are a small portion of our meals because fats are inherently higher in calories. And then C, for kick up the flavor. We want to make our meals taste delicious so that we keep eating them. Because remember, we're making it easy to implement so that our behavior can change. And we want things to taste good in order to do that. Those are core frameworks of the meals that we're going to be creating. But when it comes to the weekly plan, for us to take action, we're having consistent breakfasts, consistent lunches, and then rotating out dinner. And this formula has been the most effective for myself, but also our most successful clients. And I've coached thousands of clients one-on-one in our program, Lean Your Plants, and so we know what works from real data. This concept is also supported by behavioral change science, where the more repetitions of an action you can get, the easier and quicker you will form a habit. So repetitive meals are going to help you to do that, because you're eliminating decision fatigue and you're focused on taking action. And lastly, we're going to look at a format for modifying your favorite meals in order to make them weight loss friendly. I've done this for a long period of time, and you can find recipes that already follow this framework of no oil, half vegetables, and made up of whole foods. But it is hugely helpful to know if you have a favorite meal that you can modify that as well and lower the calories and optimize it to get you into that fat burning zone. So let's start using these prompts, put them into ChatGPT and see what he gives us. We're going to input this prompt into ChatGPT and we're going to start to just modify a little bit. So do we prefer to use pounds, ounces, or metric system? So for me, I'm going to put that I want the metric system right here. And then we're also going to do your favorite non-starchy vegetables. So these can be things like really anything that you want. And when you're looking at this here, it's going to be foods that you can easily get a hold of. These are going to be what you're going to be putting in your lunches as sides for your dinner. So use a mix of things that is easy for you to get. So I'm thinking always I can get like frozen broccoli, I can get baby carrots, I can get snap peas. These are like my favorite things for like when I'm making lunches, and they don't require much cooking. I can get broccoli that is in a pound bag that I can just put in the microwave. So I'm going to add my favorites in here: broccoli or carrot chips. I'm going to say cauliflower and zucchini is in season right now. Snap peas for snacking, baby tomatoes, and leeks for cooking. So that's what I'm going to put in here. You can be as granular as you want. The idea is to just give it the foods that you are actually going to buy and that you actually want to eat consistently. My favorite starches: potatoes, oats, rice, sweet potato, quinoa. You're going to say potatoes predominantly. You always want to say this because potatoes are going to be the lowest in calories and the highest satiety food. So potatoes and sweet potatoes or Japanese sweet potatoes. My other starch is normally, I'm going to put packet brown rice from, let's say, Trader Joe's. So you're looking for simplicity here. Or you could put frozen brown rice. I'm going to do frozen. You can make it as simple or as complicated as you want. I'm not going to put quinoa or anything like that because while I do like them, I just know realistically I'm not going to be cooking those things up. And then my favorite plant-based proteins. You don't need to put a lot here. You can say tofu and you can have it at that. Or you can say black beans. Or what else do I like to have? Like, I put protein powder. I do have protein powder as well. And then I might say like lentils. And then my favorite condiments. So we're looking for something that is oil-free and low in sugar. So not mayonnaise or anything like that. So we can say hummus. I might say balsamic, salsa, mustard is good. And then maybe I say sriracha. And then we've got our framework here. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a simple framework of oats with protein powder, which is what I would recommend, or a savory veggie-based breakfast if you don't want oats. So just here with this prompt, you just want to modify where it's, you either say oats with protein powder and fruit. You get rid of this if you don't want to have a variety, or you just keep it in there as well. And then lunch is going to be half a pound of vegetables, which is 225 grams, non-starchy vegetables, a starchy carbohydrate, and a plant-based protein, and then some kind of optional condiment. And then lunch is going to stay the same each day for simplicity. And then what it's going to show you is we're going to do a 7-day table. It's going to keep me simple. This is actually going to, all the prompts are in here. And so we're going to put it in, and then it's going to start spitting out some information. So let's have a look and see what it says. Okay. So this is actually pretty damn good. And what you're going to notice here and what I want you to look at is not the exact calories, because the exact calories aren't what matters. We're looking to be in a calorie range. So between 400 and 550 calories for most people is going to be perfect when it comes to weight loss. You might need a little bit more, you might need a little bit less. What matters is that you're going to be increasing your consistency, and eating big and a lot of vegetables like this is going to help you to do it. So let's have a look. We've got 60 grams of oats, half a cup. You could make that a bit more because you can make it up to 500 calories or even a bit more. But it's giving you a bit of an idea here. This is pretty much what I do. I actually would do like at least 100 grams of oats, like a cup. Protein powder in there, some mango, some unsweetened soy milk, cinnamon. And Monday to Sunday, like every single day, we're going to be having this. And then lunch, we want to have consistency. So this is just giving us an idea. Half a pound or 225 grams of non-starchy vegetables. We've got cauliflower, broccoli, carrot chips, zucchini, and leeks. Any one of these is going to be fine, or a combination. And then we've got a big potato, and then plus some sweet potato, 100 grams of sweet potato. And you can ask more questions as well. So you can come here, if you don't know how much this is, you can say, how much Japanese sweet potato is 100 grams? If you don't know, is that like in terms of potatoes? And again, you can eat more than this, you can eat a little bit less, but this is going to give you a good starting point if you just don't even know where to begin. 150 grams of tofu, which is half a block. This is perfect. Like, this is the kind of meal that I would actually eat every single day. And then the breakfast stays identical. You want to keep it the same without any effort. You can swap the fruits. You can add more like flax or chia if you want, but you want to keep that to a minimum. And then lunch can be batch prepped, food 4 days at a time. You could totally do that. Veggie rotation ideas, broccoli and carrot and leek. And then you could also do cauliflower, zucchini. So, and then you can ask for more ideas as well based on the seasons. And this is going to give you a bit of a grocery list here. So this is what we've got so far. So now we've got an idea for lunch and breakfast, but that's enough to get started. You can make it simpler and you can give it more questions. It just depends what you want to do. Most of the time, the way that I see ChatGPT used poorly or AI used poorly is when people don't ask specifics about what they actually want, but you can get very, very specific here. So you can take a meal like this and you can say, can you modify this to be easier and only include veggies, throw it together fast. Let's have a look and see what it says. No, super interesting. It gives you kind of an idea of how to do this. So easy. All right, so now we're going to do our second prompt. So once we've got our breakfast and our lunch sorted, then we move on to dinner. And what I've seen work best is simplicity of lunch and breakfast, and then having a little bit more variety when it comes to dinner, because normally you're cooking for more people and it keeps you more interested. When you have a simple breakfast and lunch, it also means that you're more excited for dinner. And so if you have a little bit more variety at dinner, then you're even less likely to go out to eat, partly because you've created this contrast of boringness between lunch and when you eat dinner. So even if you're eating like a very simple whole foods pasta, when you've had something even simpler for lunch, it's going to taste even better. It's basically resetting your dopamine so you can get your kicks from food from less dopamine. You're going to be like, wow, because anything is more exciting than a potato and some broccoli and some tofu. So what you want to do is pick 2 to 4 core meals that you're going to make consistently, and then you're going to rotate them. And if you already know what they are, then that's great. We're just going to input it into ChatGPT to make sure that it is optimized for weight loss. If you have recipes that are already optimized, then you can do that. But you can also just go into Pinterest or anywhere where you have your favorite recipes, whatever you make consistently, and you can find it. So let's say I really love a vegan peanut satay curry. We're going to search for that. Okay, found a green curry. So I want to have a green curry. I'm just going to copy the link. I'm going to come back to ChatGPT, input that there, and then take my second prompt. And so what we're going to do in this prompt is we're going to make sure that we're eating half a pound of vegetables in this meal, and we're going to modify it to make it good for fat loss. We're going to keep overt fats to the minimum, nuts, seeds, avocado, coconut, peanut butter, under about 100 calories per serving. And then we're going to look at the modified ingredients and then also like what you're going to need at the grocery store. So let's have a look. So the first thing that you're going to notice with this is we're adding so many vegetables. And this can also be a good way for you to understand that when it comes to weight loss, the easiest thing is going to be just bulking out those vegetables. When I'm cooking meals, I'm always asking how I can add more veggies to it. And this is going to show you how much more is required for a recipe than what most people are putting in when they're building recipes. Like coconut milk, that's going to be a reduced fat version. We're not going to be cooking with oil anymore. And then it's going to show you exactly what you need in terms of a shopping list. It's going to show you that you can cook without oil. But again, you can also use ChatGPT to make your life easier. So if I was like, hey, I'm sure there's probably a vegan curry paste that I could use, you can type that in. Can you modify this with a green curry paste that I can use? Find that is vegan and oil-free at my local H-E-B or Trader Joe's or Whole Foods. And that's it. And then we have a vegan, oil-free green curry paste. So we don't have to use all of those ingredients that were in the original recipe. Now for the third prompt. We're going to build a simple weekly meal plan from this. So in this scenario, you would have put in 3 different recipes, however many you want, and then use this prompt. I'm just going to tell it my other 2 recipes first. I'm going to say, so I'm telling it my other 2 dinners are going to be pasta and ramen, and then I'm giving the prompt that I needed to give, and let's have a look. And then we've also got snacks in there as well. And then we have a shopping list, and then you have like pantry goods and what you need. And what I would like to do is I would just take this and I would put it into an Apple Note, copy and paste all of it. And it gives me a pretty good starting point of what my week is going to look like. What you can see is this hasn't accounted for Sunday or Saturday, but we can just ask it to add those in if you want to. You can also ask it things like, what are the best oil-free hummuses? What are the best condiments that are oil-free? What are the easiest pantry staples that I can have that don't require any cooking, like frozen rice, and where do I get it in my local area? There's so many ways that you can use this for research in order to remove some of the bottlenecks to taking action. And one thing to note with these daily averages is this is not including additional snacking. It's not including the fact that you're probably going to go back for a little bit more food, and it's not including the fact that you're going to have some drinks, coffees, and other things in there. So in terms of day-to-day meals, you can have a bit more, you can have a bit less, but for most people, this is kind of the realm that you're going to be sitting in, which works out to typically about 1,700 to 1,900 calories a day for most women if you want to be in a reasonable calorie deficit. And whether your breakfast is 400 calories or it is 500 calories, even the difference between those two only adds an additional 700 calories per week. Whereas if your behavior is leaving you feeling restricted and hungry, and you go and binge on Ben and Jerry's, you can have a 4,000 calorie meal and a 10,000 calorie weekend very, very quickly, which is why sweating how many calories you have between 400 and 500 or even 600 calories in a meal for most people is not where their weight gain is coming from. It's the binges and the inconsistency that we are working so hard to eliminate. So don't major in the minor things when it comes to changing your behavior. Use this as a starting point if it's helpful, but only so much as it allows you to take action. If you went and followed all the steps in this video, you're going to do that right now, then within about 5 minutes, you're going to walk away with a complete plan, plus a shopping list and core meals for you to start taking action, which is amazing. But as I said in the beginning, and I cannot drive this point home enough, simply having a plan, simply using AI, or buying another recipe book, or knowing how many calories you need to eat for weight loss doesn't actually get you results. The only thing that matters is action. And in the same way that you can use ChatGPT to remove your bottlenecks to action, it can be another tool to procrastination as well. Just like watching another YouTube video might be as well. If you want to enter the 1% of people who systemically lose weight and keep it off, then you need to ruthlessly take action and make a decision to stop endlessly researching and planning and just go eat a potato. Remember, the plan is only as good as the action it allows you to take. You win by getting started, not by getting it right. By the way, if you want more help taking action, then I have a free 7-day Kickstarter challenge just for you, where you can join over 20,000 other people losing weight and taking action to get to their goals, and I'm gonna put the link in the description. It's completely free, and I'll see you next week for another video. Bye.